Wow, this is a really awesome song. What year did it come out?
1980.
Wow, 1980 was quite the year. John Lennon died, Mount St. Helens erupted, and the USA won the Winter Olympics for hockey.
Speaking of the Olympics, didn't your mom cover the Summer Olympic boycott that year too?
Yeah, she did.
Let's check it out!
After months of political unrest in the country of Afghanistan, the Soviet Union recently has officially invaded the country in order to militarily support the Marxist People's Democratic Party of Afghanistan against the largely Muslim fundamentalist Mujahideen insurgent.
President Jimmy Carter responded to this by restricting trade with the Soviets, not issuing any permits for Soviet ships to fish in coastal waters of the U.S., cutting Soviet access to high-technology equipment and to agricultural products, limiting other commerce with the Soviet Union, and threatening to boycott the Moscow Olympics this summer if they do not remove their forces within the month.
Which is now threatened by Soviet troops in Afghanistan. It's of great strategic importance. It contains more than 2/3 of the world's exportable oil. Let our position be absolutely clear. Any attempt of an outside force to gain control of the Persian Gulf region will be regarded as an assault on the vital interests of the United States of America, and such an assault will be repelled by any means necessary, including military force.
Due to President Carter's request, the United States Olympic Committee has officially voted to boycott the Moscow Olympics this summer. To athletes who have tirelessly trained to reach this goal for years, this must be devastating news. We have exclusive interviews with many of the athletes who qualified and now cannot go. Gene Mills is a 21-year-old native of New Jersey and outstanding wrestler for Syracuse University. He recently participated in the hardest wrestling match in the world, the Tbilisi tournament. Since 1958, only 4 Americans have ever won this tournament. Mills defeated all other wrestlers and won the tournament, as well as the world tournament. He most definitely would have won gold had he gone to Moscow. Gene, how do you feel about not going to the Olympics?
It's probably the biggest letdown of my entire life. I spent the last several years training at least 8 hours a day. I know I would have won gold if I had gone to Moscow, and the worst part about it is it wasn't something natural or preventable like an injury that's preventing me from going, but it's the government and it's completely out of my control. The Olympics were always something that was supposed to be separate from politics. It was always said that this is a time for everyone to come together and to separate politics from the sport. Carter chose not to do that, and we're all disappointed because of it.
What would you say to President Carter if you had the chance?
I'd have nothing to say. I'd love to be in a locker room with him and wrestle him and put him in some intense pain.
I have no negative feelings at all. I'm just happy to have even qualified for the team at such a young age. So I'm hoping to continue competing and training for the next 4 years so I can qualify for the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. I'll be 17 then, which is around the age when most gymnasts peak. I just need to make sure, not to gain too many LBS, if you know what I mean.
That sounds like a great goal. Good luck to you, Amy.
Thank you!
The United States has never had a women's volleyball team qualify for the Olympic Games. These past few years, however, the country's national women's volleyball team has been on a mission to change this. Debbie Landreth, co-captain of the team, was a key athlete in getting this team to qualify. Debbie, you must have many mixed feelings about the success which you and your teammates achieved.
I do. Well, of course, I was ecstatic when we found out that our team would qualify. The boycott, although it was extremely disappointing, it didn't ruin all my chances and everything that I have earned. We were the first women's volleyball team in the country to qualify for the Olympic Games, and that's what I was trying to focus on.
Are you planning on trying to qualify for the 1984 Olympic Games?
Well, unfortunately, I think this is the end of my Olympic career. I love it. I loved training for the Olympics. It really drains you physically and financially. I can't afford 4 more years of this, but I'm hoping to be coaching now.
Yeah, going to Moscow obviously would have been an awesome experience, but I'm just happy to have made the team. Because this really proves that I can make it to the NBA. It's my number 1. Don't get me wrong, the Olympics would have been truly surreal, but I understand why the boycott happened. Unfortunately, sports and politics have always gone hand in hand, whether it be civil action or political action. Each arena always flows into the other. Changes that are made or demonstrations that are made in the sports arena somehow always seem to impact the political arena. Sports have always been used as a tool to bring people together and also as a tool to advance different causes.
But not every athlete has just accepted this fate. Rower Anita de France, along with 25 other Olympic athletes, has filed a case against the United States Olympic Committee. They claim that the committee has no right to keep them from going, citing the Amateur Sports Act of 1978, which states that athletes can only be stopped from going to the Olympics for sports-related reasons. Anita, tell us a bit about your stance on the case.
Well, I know that we'd most likely be unsuccessful in this case, but really it's the last thing we can do as athletes. We've trained so hard and sacrificed so much, all for the same dream, to go to the Olympics. We're just desperate at this point. If you work for something the way we have, you don't just give up on it like that. Carter signed the act to protect us from something like this happening. And right now we have a situation where politics are getting involved when they definitely should not be.
Thanks, Anita.
The jury has decided not to override the boycott. The USOC is the ultimate decision-making body of whether our athletes will compete, and they made a fair choice in a fair vote for valid reasons. To the athletes, we are extremely sorry, but nothing can be done. We respect all of your hard work and dedication, but this is for something bigger than sports.
President Carter, what led you and your board to come to this conclusion that a boycott was necessary?
Well, we believe that if we had gone to Moscow, that would basically be telling the Soviets that it is okay to be doing what they're doing. And it's not. They disregard freedom and basic human rights, especially even more with the invasion of Afghanistan. We need to show them that this is not acceptable.
These athletes are considered Olympians, but never had the chance to compete. They will always be Olympians with an asterisk written by it. Different than the rest. When something like this happens in history, a decision based off good intentions, but with painful consequences, we must reflect. What would you do? Would you enact the boycott? Or would you turn a blind eye to the political tensions? Would you honor your obligations to foreign policies or allow the athletes to compete in the Olympics?
Wow, that's really sad about all those athletes. I mean, I can't imagine what that would feel like to train so hard, just have it taken away from you.
I know, but President Carter did have a point. There were a lot of tensions between the U.S. and Russia during that time, so you can see where he's coming from.
Valid point.
I know, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, sports and state are supposed to be different.
That's the Constitution, yeah.
Well, I don't think we can really say because we weren't President Carter, we weren't there, and what happens in history stays in history.
Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. I say love.
Welcome to CNN. Let's conduct the interview with our guest, Andrew Eller.
Stop it.
Hey.
This off.
Actions. It is what I believe to be the most effective, peaceful way to make a statement to them.
Evan!
Let's do this.
Ow! You're on my hand.
You're such good friends.
But do you even believe this? I swear Evan. We're trying to film.
You're gonna be crucified, and it's gonna suck,
Evan.
but not for us.
Evan, what are you?
Evan. Can we
Evan, you
quiet
still
for
owe
a
me
minute?
$4 also. Like,
I know. What do you?
Start vibing. Wow, this is a really awesome song. What year did it come out?
1980.
Wow, 1980 was quite the
Man.
USA won the Winter Olympics.
And
What
Alex,
sport?
they didn't just win. Yeah,
They didn't
won.
just win. You can't just win.
The U.S. hockey
You have to
team
win something.
won
You got
against
pent up
Moscow.
anger?
God, yes.
yeah, it's going.